Hi, good evening. This is Eduardo. I'm an assistant principal at Montclair High School, Chaffey Joint Union High School District. My responsibilities include instruction and guidance for this marvelous school. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about master schedule. We have about 3,100 students. We do have to schedule all of those students in a class, and you can think of the master schedule as a body, a human body or a school body. And the master schedule is essentially the heart. So if you don't have a heart that pumps, you don't have a body that can move. That's the best analogy I can think of. You can also think of it as a big puzzle and a bunch of puzzle pieces that come together to make one whole puzzle. That is the master schedule. Now let's get to some more details. We have 3,100 students approximately. We have to schedule every student in every class, in a class. It's a twofold process. One, we have student requests. We have students, they have electives depending on what year they're in or what grade. They could take different electives at different point in their career. So numbers dictate what we do to an extent. We have students that they may want to take drama or they may want to take choir, and we have to accommodate them as best we can. We can't accommodate every student. So that's one thing that drives the master schedule, so we see how many choir classes we need based on student interest. The other section would be the mandatory classes that students have to take. So if everyone has to take English, so we have to look at the number of students, and we have to see how many teachers we need to serve all of those students, the 3,100 students that we need to have them take English, for instance. So that's a twofold process. Now, another layer to the master schedule is that within the big master schedule we have, going back to the analogy of the body, we have a hand and an elbow that have to come together. So we have the special ed section, for instance, students with disabilities. Those students need separate classes or different classes, and we have to have X amount of teachers to serve them as well. Now at Montclair we have a big push to serve these students in the mainstream curriculum. So we have to have those students not only in some special ed education classes, but also in mainstream classes, regular classes like, or co-teach classes or collaborative classes, depending on what you want to call it. That's one example of special education. Another example is AVID, Advancement via Individual Determination. We're a nationally recognized school, an AVID demonstration school, or demo school. We have approximately 490 students, 500 students that are AVID members. That's another piece of the master schedule, that we have AVID classes that are incorporated into our master schedule. Those students are part of the regular master schedule, but we have different support classes for those AVID students. Lastly, I'll talk to you briefly about singletons. Those are classes that are for advanced placement classes, for instance. We may only have one AP Chem class or chemistry class, and we may have one or two doubletons or two pre-AP calculus classes. We have to make sure that those students, because a lot of those students share the same classes, we can't schedule them in the same period. We have a 6-period day, so we have to make sure we separate them, and so we don't have as many conflicts, so students can take as many advanced placement classes as possible. That's the other piece about advanced placement classes. The same goes with special education. Sometimes we may only offer one basic government class, so we have to make sure that those students aren't conflicting and they can take each class throughout the day. So we literally do a mock-up of what students will be taking, and we're talking a student who has advanced classes to students who have special ed classes. The first thing that we want to do is put those classes on the board, those classes that are single classes, like the honors, the AP, and some of the special ed classes. We want to put those on the board first, and you'll see the board in a few minutes, before we can build the rest of the classes around it. You know, we're going to need English, and we're going to need U.S. history and world history and all those, but we want to schedule singletons, or the classes that we have the least amount of first, and then you build around that, just like a big puzzle. So that's essentially the master schedule. Again, I go back to what we said at the beginning. Think of it as a big human body, and the master schedule is the heart. It is what drives our school, it drives our instruction, and without the master schedule we would not have kids in classes, we would not be sitting here today.